Good morning. I want to wish all of you a very pleasant Sunday. This is the second Sunday of Easter. This is Divine Mercy Sunday. Unfortunately, we cannot be with one another again, but yet at the same time, it is by the gift of technology in which we are present to one another and that we are at least in a little bit of a way connected. And that is what we want to really remember. As a community of believers, as a community of faith, we want to stay connected. And so today, I want to really call your attention to, of course, the readings for this day, Sunday, the second Sunday of Easter, Divine Mercy Sunday. But I want to accent and I want to really pay attention to the first reading. And the first reading, of course, is from the Acts of the Apostles. As I have indicated to you before, the Acts of the Apostles is truly an exciting book in the body of the scriptures. It is an exciting book because it really chronicles the life of the early church, how those early apostles and disciples were ignited and were brought together to create an identity and to therefore put forth a mission. And of course, the mission is to proclaim to all of the world now that as we as Christians come together, we make known the risen Christ. That is what we are asked to do. And therefore, as we read this little piece from the Acts of the Apostles this morning, I invite you to enter into it and to allow it to, again, not only to be heard, but to be lived. Therefore, a reading from the Acts of the Apostles. They devoted themselves to the teaching of the apostles and to the communal life, to the breaking of bread, and to the prayers. All came upon everyone, and many wonders and signs were done through the apostles. All who believed were together and had all things in common. They would sell their property and possessions and divide them among all according to each one's need. Every day they devoted themselves to meeting together in the temple area and to breaking bread in their homes. They ate their meals with exultation and sincerity of heart, praising God and enjoying favor with all the people. And every day the Lord added to their number those who were being saved. This, I think, is a beautiful example of Christian stewardship. Remember, in Christian stewardship, we have four particular elements. The first is blessing. We come to know the blessings we received this day and the blessings that we have received in the past, an abundance of blessings. And that takes us into the second element of Christian stewardship, and that is our response to those blessings. Our response is simply thank you. We live a life of gratitude. As we live that life of gratitude, then we begin to find that it is gratitude which fuels generosity. What we have received as a blessing, a gift, we give away as a blessing and a gift. And then finally, the final element of Christian stewardship, return with increase. There will never be a point in our faith lives in which we will say we have done enough. I really do not know what else to do. We cannot and we must not plateau. And therefore, when we look at those four elements of Christian stewardship, blessing, gratitude, generosity, and return with increase, then we know that this is what comprises our identity now as Catholic Christians, but then also our mission to proclaim the good news. Jesus Christ is risen. to all of the world. Now, we do that in a number of different ways as stewards of all of God's blessings and gifts. We do that regarding, of course, our talent and our time and our treasure. We have heard that so many times, but especially when we are apart, when we are away from one another, it is all the more important then to come to know that we need to exercise our talent and our time and our treasure in a completely different kind of a way. How are we going to be present now to one another? And how are we going to share those blessings and gifts that we have received with one another and with the community at large? That really requires us to be a little bit thoughtful. That requires all of us to certainly be prayerful. We must ponder that now. All of a sudden, the ball is in our court because of this pandemic. We need to do something with the ball. We need to be, therefore, active participants of God's good news and how we are going to be present to one another, certainly, as I indicated earlier, but all the more important, how are we going to really be of service to one another? When we return to liturgy, when we come together once again to celebrate Mass as St. Patrick's Parish, as St. Joseph's Parish, my hope and my prayer is that we will be different, that we will come to know our call and our challenge to live the life of Christian stewardship. Not only when we have to in terms of a crisis or in terms of a need, but now each and every day. Each and every day, so that what we heard proclaimed in the Acts of the Apostles, we can certainly emulate in the spirit of justice and in the spirit of peace. How will we make known the community of faith? How will people come to know that we are Christians? And in doing that, follow the Lord all the more with a lively and with a vibrant faith. Let us then give thanks and praise this day, this Sunday. But let us look at this day too as the day in which before us are so many different possibilities. Not only when we come back together again, but even now. How as we exercise talent and time and treasure, we are truly free. And by being truly free, we allow ourselves that great privilege to hear the Word of God, to share the Eucharist in a different way, and then to be the Word of God and to be Eucharist. Make it a great Sunday.